Living in a big Canadian city like Toronto is a wild ride and I absolutely love it. My street feels like a little version of the United Nations but with way better food and friendlier neighbors. When I take my small brother for a walk, we hear so many different languages. It's a beautiful symphony of sounds from all over the world. One family might be speaking Tagalog, another is chatting in Italian, and a group of friends are laughing in Arabic. It's just a normal Tuesday here. This incredible mix of people isn't just something we see, it's something we live and breathe every single day, and it makes our community vibrant and full of life. It's what makes Canada, well, Canada. The best part? The food, obviously. On my block alone, I can grab a spicy vindaloo from the Indian takeout place, a delicious shawarma from the Lebanese family's restaurant, or some incredible jerk chicken from the Jamaican spot down the road. My brother has grown up thinking it's totally normal to have friends whose parents came from Nigeria, Vietnam, or Colombia. He learned about different holidays at school like Diwali and Lunar New Year, right alongside Christmas and Easter. This isn't a special event, it's just their reality. It's a beautiful, chaotic, and delicious mix that teaches them from a young age that our differences are something to celebrate, not fear. This everyday experience is the heart of what we call multiculturalism. It's not just a word in a textbook or a policy made by politicians in Ottawa. It's the real, lived experience of millions of Canadians. It's the understanding that you don't have to give up your own culture to be a Canadian. You can be proud of your heritage, your language, and your traditions, and still be 100% Canadian. It's about building a country where everyone feels like they belong, no matter where they or their parents came from. This idea shapes everything, from our friendships to the music we listen to, and the food we crave. So when people ask me what it's like to live in Canada, I don't just talk about the maple syrup or the hockey. I talk about my neighborhood. I talk about the colorful festivals that take over the streets in the summer. I talk about the stories I hear from my neighbors about their journeys to this country. It's a place where diversity isn't just tolerated, it's genuinely cherished. It's a social experiment that, for the most part, is working beautifully. And it all starts on streets just like mine, all across this big, amazing country. It's a daily reminder that we are stronger, smarter, and way more interesting because of our differences. So, what exactly is multiculturalism? Let's break it down. Think of it like a giant, beautiful piece of art called a mosaic. A mosaic is made up of thousands of small, different colored tiles. Each tile is unique, it has its own shape, its own color, and its own texture. When you put them all together, they create one big, stunning picture. No single tile has to change its color or shape to fit in. In fact, the final picture is beautiful because all the tiles are different. That's the idea behind Canada's multiculturalism. Each person and each cultural group is like one of those tiles, and together, we form the Canadian identity. This is very different from the idea of the melting pot, which is often used to describe the United States. In a melting pot, all the different ingredients are thrown in together and heated up until they melt into one single thing. The original ingredients lose their unique flavors and textures. Everyone is expected to blend in and become part of one dominant culture. In Canada, we don't ask people to melt, we ask them to shine. We believe that you can be Ukrainian Canadian or Filipino Canadian or Somali Canadian, and that your unique heritage adds something valuable to the country as a whole. It's a fundamental difference in how we see ourselves. The core principle of the Canadian mosaic is that diversity is our strength. It's the belief that a society rich with different cultures, traditions, and perspectives is a more creative, innovative, and resilient society. It means that the government and our institutions should support and protect this diversity. This isn't about creating separate little communities that never interact. It's about encouraging everyone to share their culture while also participating fully in Canadian life. It's a delicate balance, but it's one that we are always working towards. It's about integration, not assimilation. Ultimately, multiculturalism in Canada is an official promise. It's a promise that says, you are welcome here, just as you are. It's a promise that your background is a part of the Canadian story, not something you need to leave behind. It encourages us all to be curious, to learn from one another, and to build a society where everyone has a voice. It's an ambitious goal, and we don't always get it perfect, but it's a core part of who we are. It's the idea that our country is a constantly evolving masterpiece, made richer by every new tile that is added to the mosaic. This whole multiculturalism thing didn't just happen by accident, it was a very deliberate choice. Canada has always been a diverse place, starting with the hundreds of indigenous nations who have lived here for thousands of years. Then came the French and the British, our two founding European nations. But after World War II, Canada started to see immigration from all over the world. People came from Italy, Germany, the Netherlands, and then from Asia, Africa, and the Caribbean. Our cities started to look and feel very different, and the old idea of Canada being just French and British didn't really fit anymore. We needed a new story. The big moment came in 1971. The Prime Minister at the time, Pierre Elliott Trudeau, yes, Justin's dad, stood up in Parliament and made a groundbreaking announcement. He declared that Canada would officially adopt a policy of multiculturalism. This was huge. It was the first time any country in the world had done something like this. The government was officially saying that there was no one official culture in Canada. It recognized that all cultures were valuable and deserved to be preserved. This policy was designed to help different cultural groups keep their heritage alive, break down barriers, and participate fully in Canadian society. But a policy is one thing. Making it law is another. The next big step happened in 1988 with the Canadian Multiculturalism Act. This wasn't just a guideline anymore, it was the law of the land. This act made it a legal requirement for the federal government to promote and protect multiculturalism. It said that all federal institutions like the CBC or Parks Canada had to reflect the diversity of our country. The act was designed to ensure that every Canadian, regardless of their skin color, religion, or ethnic origin, had an equal opportunity to succeed and contribute to the country. It put our values into writing. These government actions were more than just symbolic gestures. They sent a powerful message to both Canadians and the rest of the world. They said that Canada was choosing a different path. Instead of forcing everyone to conform to a single identity, we were going to build our identity on diversity itself. These policies laid the foundation for the Canada we know today. They shaped our immigration system, our schools, and our communities. They are the reason why our cities are filled with such an incredible mix of people, and why diversity is our strength has become our unofficial national motto. So, we have the official policy and the big ideas, but what does multiculturalism actually look like on a normal day in Canada? The answer is, it's everywhere you look. Just walk through any major Canadian city, Vancouver, Calgary, Montreal, or Toronto, and you'll see it instantly. You'll find neighborhoods like Little Italy, Chinatown, Greektown, or Little India. These areas are buzzing with life, filled with restaurants, grocery stores, and community centers that are a celebration of a specific culture. But it's not just in these designated areas. The mix is happening everywhere, creating new fusion foods, new music, and new friendships. It's also a huge part of our schools and workplaces. In my brother's school, the students come from dozens of different countries. They learn about each other's holidays, share food from their cultures at potlucks, and grow up with a global perspective without ever leaving their classroom. In the workplace, Canadian companies are increasingly recognizing that having a diverse team is a major advantage. It brings different skills, ideas, and ways of solving problems to the table. Companies now actively recruit people from all backgrounds and offer training on diversity and inclusion to make sure everyone feels respected and valued. You can even see it in our politics. Look at our city councils, our provincial legislatures, and our federal parliament in Ottawa. You'll see politicians from a huge range of backgrounds. We have had a governor general who was a refugee from Haiti, Michael Jean, and a minister of national defense who was a Sikh immigrant from India, Harjit Sajjan. This representation is so important. It shows people, especially new Canadians and their children, that they can achieve anything in this country. It ensures that diverse voices are part of the decision-making process, helping to shape laws and policies that affect us all. And of course, there are the festivals. All year round, but especially in the summer, Canadian cities come alive with cultural celebrations. There's Carabana in Toronto, a massive and colorful celebration of Caribbean culture. There's the Folklorama Festival in Winnipeg, which is the largest and longest-running multicultural festival of its kind in the world. There's the Festival de Voyageurs, celebrating French-Canadian and Métis history. These events are not just for the communities they represent, they are for everyone. They are an open invitation to come and experience the music, dance, food, and traditions of your neighbors. It's multiculturalism in its most fun and delicious form. Now, it would be great if I could say that our multicultural mosaic is a perfect, flawless masterpiece. But that wouldn't be the whole truth. Being a multicultural country isn't always easy, and we face some serious challenges. The biggest and most painful one is racism and discrimination. Despite our official policies and our best intentions, prejudice still exists in Canada. People of color, Indigenous peoples, and religious minorities can face systemic barriers and individual acts of hate. This can happen when they are looking for a job, trying to rent an apartment, or just walking down the street. It's a sad reality that goes against everything multiculturalism stands for. Another challenge is the risk of social division. The idea of the mosaic is that all the different cultural tiles live side by side to create a beautiful picture. But sometimes communities can become isolated from one another. People might stick to their own groups, not interacting much with others outside their culture. This can lead to a lack of understanding and trust between different communities. The goal of multiculturalism isn't to create a bunch of separate little islands, it's to build bridges between them. We have to constantly work to make sure we are truly integrating and sharing with one another, not just living in parallel worlds. There is also a debate about what's known as reasonable accommodation. This is the question of how much our society should adapt its rules and practices to accommodate the cultural or religious needs of minority groups. For example, should a police officer be allowed to wear a turban as part of their uniform? Should public schools provide prayer rooms for Muslim students? These questions can be really complex and sometimes lead to heated public debates. Finding the right balance between respecting individual cultural rights and maintaining a cohesive society for everyone is a constant challenge that we are still figuring out. Finally, some critics worry that by focusing so much on our different origins, we might be weakening our shared Canadian identity. They ask, if we are all celebrating where we came from, what is it that binds us all together as Canadians? It's a valid question. The answer, I believe, is that our shared identity is built on our respect for diversity. Our common values are things like democracy, equality, human rights, and the rule of law. And our most unique shared value is multiculturalism itself, but we can't take it for granted. We have to keep talking, listening, and working to make this grand, complicated, and beautiful experiment a success for everyone. To really understand what multiculturalism feels like, you need to hear it from someone who has lived it. I recently spoke with my friend Vivek. He came to Canada from India with his family when he was 17 years old. I was so scared, he told me. I didn't speak English well and everything was so new and different. I was worried that I would have to forget everything about being Indian to fit in. He remembered her first day of school, feeling completely lost. But then, something amazing happened. A girl in her class, whose parents were from Portugal, came up to him and started talking, using simple words and hand gestures to make him feel welcome. That small act of kindness changed everything, Vivek said. Soon I realized that almost everyone in my class had a story like mine. Our teacher encouraged us to talk about our home countries. We had an international food day where we all brought in dishes from our culture. I brought dal dokli, and it was a huge hit. Vivek explained that he never felt pressure to stop being Indian. He could speak Tagalog at home with his parents, go to his Hindu community temple on Sundays, and still feel completely Canadian. For me, he concluded, being Canadian means I can be both. I don't have to choose. My Indian heritage is one tile, and my Canadian identity is the beautiful mosaic that it's a part of. Vivek's story is the story of Canada. It's a story that plays out in thousands of different ways all across the country. It's the story of building a home in a new land without having to leave your old one behind. This is why multiculturalism is so much more than just a government policy. It is the very essence of our national identity. It's what makes us different from other countries. In a world that often seems to be pulling apart, divided by fear and suspicion, Canada's commitment to diversity stands as a powerful and hopeful example. It is a statement that it is possible to build a strong, unified, and prosperous nation, not in spite of our differences, but because of them. Looking to the future, as of today, June 13, 2025, this ideal is more important than ever. We face global challenges like climate change, economic uncertainty, and political polarization. To solve these massive problems, we are going to need all the creativity, ingenuity, and different perspectives we can get. Our multicultural society is our greatest resource. It's a deep well of talent and ideas from every corner of the globe. Continuing to nurture this mosaic isn't just a nice thing to do, it is essential for our survival and success in the 21st century. It is our past, our present, and our most